Hey there, Tech Moms. We are on step 3 of assignment 1, learning how to start analyzing and ask questions of the data in Excel. So this step here, let's just read through it quick. It says the leadership team has asked you to answer the following questions, such as how many total applicants are there, how many applicants were assigned a cohort, what's the number of total children of applicants, and so on and so forth. The way that you can answer these questions is actually really quickly using functions that exist in Excel, such as count, count if, sum if, max if, average if, and so forth. Now, these are very commonly used functions, and it will give you kind of a baseline of how functions work in Excel. But know that there are more advanced functions, so there's lots of different options and methods that you can get into when answering these types of questions and then analyzing your data in Excel. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's head over to our Excel spreadsheet. And what we're going to do is create a new tab, or excuse me, a new sheet. Double click, and we're going to name this functions. Okay. And what we're going to do is just copy and paste these questions in to our Excel spreadsheet. So highlight, Control C, come back over to your functions worksheet, click into a cell, and the way that it pastes is it pastes the first row into whatever cell you've clicked on, and then it will autofill the rest of the cells with the rest of the rows that you have. So it tries to be smart and figure out where you want to put cells, but don't be pasting way over here or you're going to get your data in funky places. So B3 will be fine for me. I'm going to Control V, and this is actually a really interesting sort of error that pops up here when this happens. It's not an error, but what happened is it copied the formatting of the GitHub page, and that's not necessarily what we want. That's not helpful to me. So I'm going to Control Z, and this is where the special paste options that exist in Microsoft products is helpful. So the default will be to keep source formatting. So if you do Control V, it'll do that by default. Or we can match destination formatting, which is what we want to do. And so we will do match destination formatting there. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a header here. I think Allison calls hers fun with functions. I'm going to call mine questions to answer from leadership. The reason I did it differently than Allison is because it doesn't super matter. What matters is that you know what this sheet is doing. What are we doing in our functions sheet? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make this a bigger font. I can make it bold, and I think that looks pretty good. That's what I want to see. So first question is, I'm actually going to make this bigger for you guys. I think it might be easier to read. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, first question, how many total applicants are there? So this is kind of a common question, and a very helpful function to use with this is going to be the count function. The way that you initialize a function in Excel is by putting an equal sign. And you can either just start typing the function. So I would put count, and Excel tries to be helpful and brings up different functions with that keyword. And it tells you, all right, this is going to count the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. You're like, okay, cool. That's helpful to me. The other option too is you can come up here and you can click count from there. Okay, and it's going to be like, all right, put in your value. So there's lots of different ways to do it in Excel. Just know that this is an option if you want to go down this way. I find it easier to just put equals, start typing count, and then every function opens with a open parentheses and closes with a close parentheses. So we have open parentheses, and it's going to say, what values do you want me to count? You go, okay, cool. We're going to go over to our analysis sheet. And you'll notice something happened here in my formula bar. it's still active, like it's tracing where my clicks are going, and it's saying, hey, I want you to count from the analysis sheet, and then I'm going to do A2, and you see it auto-populates with A2, Control Shift, down arrow. Remember that selects all of my rows. And so you can see the range. It's saying go to the analysis sheet. Now, if it ends in an exclamation point, that is the end of the name of the worksheet. And then it gives you the range, A2 colon A1682. So that's the colon is indicating a range. This cell through this cell. Okay. And we're going to, if you look here, it says value 1 as a required field. And then it goes comma, and anything in brackets afterwards in Excel is an optional field. In my case, I don't need it right now, but just so you know, count won't work without a value 1, but you can optionally add more values if they show up in brackets there. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. We'll end with a closing parentheses, hit enter, or we can hit this check mark, which is the same thing. And you'll see it takes me back to my functions sheet that I was working on, and it populates 1,681 total applicants are there. Okay, and on to our next question. We have how many applicants were assigned a cohort. So what we would do is a function called equals count if. And Excel's going to be helpful, and it's going to give you a little definition. It says counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So essentially count this range of cells if this certain parameter that I set or this certain condition is met. So we're going to count if, always write your function and then open parentheses. And it's telling me what to do next. I've got range bolded. I'm going to go find the range that I'm looking through. So I go to analysis. This populates with analysis exclamation point. That means go to this one sheet. Again, the exclamation point indicates the end of a name of a sheet. Okay. And again, I'm at the bottom of my spreadsheet again, which is not that helpful. So we hold down Control, we do up arrow, and it will go to the very top. And what we're looking at is this applicant status. So we're going to click into C2, hold down, and we want to select all of C2. So we're going to Control Shift down arrow. And you'll notice something interesting that happens here. It will stop. Like the Control Shift works as far as there is a value. So because this is a blank space, it stopped to be like, hey, we have a blank here. Do you want to keep going? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to hold down Control, hold down Shift, and I'm going to keep going until I get to the end of my data. So that's choosing like my millionth row. I don't want that. But there you have it. So that is selecting C2 through C1682. Okay, I'm going to go back to my formula bar. We'll do comma, and then the criteria. So count these values, count the values in C2 through C1682 if this certain criteria is met. And that criteria would be, again, we're looking for how many applicants are assigned a cohort, and I'm going to type in quotes because this is it's called a string or a text type needs to be in quotes, and we're going to put if this equals assigned cohort. Now, something to point out, this does have to be exact, so you can't have assigned cohort, no spaces, triples, like you have to have it exactly match, otherwise it will not count those rows that you're looking for. Okay. Okay, so we'll move my arrow over to my cursor over to the end. I'm gonna do a close parentheses, hit enter, takes me back to my functions worksheet where I was actively building that function. And I can see I've got 556 applicants that were assigned a cohort. Okay. All right. Our third question, what is the number of total children of all applicants? So again, I'm going to put wherever you click is just where the answer is going to show up. Okay. So A5 is where I want it to. I'm going to hit equals because I'm starting to create a function. And I'm going to do the total number of children of all applicants. So I'm going to do a function called sum, and it adds all the numbers in a range of cells. If you're thinking, how does she know which function to use? Number one, I did the assignment already, so I know how to answer your questions. Number two, sometimes you just got to Google it, or you chat GPT it and you say, hey, how do I find the total number of children in my data set? This is what my data set looks like. And it will be able to help you. It will be able to tell you what, or give you suggestions about what to use. It might be like, hey, use sum if, or hey, use sum. So if you're like, how do you know which one to use? Number one, I've practiced this and I'm familiar with the functions, but number two, you can Google it and find what you're looking for, okay? So anyway, we're going to do sum, open parentheses, and jump back to analysis. Again, analysis, exclamation point in my formula bar. Control up arrow to get to the top. And what we can actually do now, I was showing you how to select everything besides my header by doing Control Shift. Excel is, for the most part, smart enough to know that this is most likely a header row there. So what you can actually do is put your mouse over column D, click on that, and that will, in your formula bar, be D through D, and that chooses every single thing that's in column D, including that header. It should be smart enough to filter out your header. And we will then close parentheses, and there you have it. We have 3,884 total children of applicants. All right, for our next question, we have what % of applicants are veterans? And we're going to use our trustee equals count if, open parentheses. Now I got to go select a range. It's telling me exactly what I have to do. I'm going to go find a range. So I'll go back to my analysis sheet. I am going to look through my veterans column. So I'm going to highlight all of L. And then I'm going to go back to my formula bar, hit comma, and then I'm going to add the criteria. So what I need to see is, and you know what? I don't actually remember what should pop up. You'll see nothing shows up here. So what should I tell it to be looking for? That's what's actually really handy about having these drop down like filter bars, is I can go see what's in there. Now it's still trying to do this function for me, and I'm like, I need to back out of the function for a second because I don't remember what I should tell it to check. So I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to go back to analysis, and then let me just go see like what criteria would I even need to type in, because right now it's showing me everything. I need to see what it would show. So I have either blanks or it says checked. So this is like a veteran flag is kind of what is commonly said, at least in my job, is that this would be a veteran flag, meaning checked yes or checked no. Okay, so let me go back. Let's try this again. We're going to do what percentage of applicants are veterans. We'll do equals count if, and we're going to put in my range. So we'll go to the analysis sheet. I need to look through column L. I'm going to go back to functions. Actually, that's not what we're going to do. My bad. We're going to go back to analysis here. We're going to go to the formula bar, comma, and then the criteria. I need to count the value in column L if it reads checked. Okay, has to be in quotes because it's like a string, it's a text string. End parentheses, hit enter. Okay, now we're close. I have 22 total applicants are veterans, but it's asking what percentage of applicants are veterans. This is where we get kind of fancy. So let's pop back into our cell, and I don't want to delete this. I don't want to start over. I just want to edit my formula. So come up to the formula bar, and if I have 22 total, I got to divide it by the total number of applicants. And you can ask yourself, well, where do I have total applicants? You could go in and write more function, or you could be like, hey, that was the first question I answered was with this value that's in A3. So we could say count the total number of applicants that are veterans and divide that by, doing a slash, and we'll click A3, hit enter. And that automatically will take 22 divided by 1,681, and it gives me this value. Now, what we can do is we can tell Excel, hey, I actually want this to preview like a percentage. Like that's not super intuitive. It's not that pretty. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Home tab, if you're not already there. And under Number, this is where you can check the kind of the type of value that you want it to be, the data type. So I'm actually going to come here and click percent style. I want you to format this as a percent, and this will say, cool, I'm at 1%. Now it's rounding. Maybe I want to have some decimals, so I can either increase the decimal, show more decimals for a more precise value, or I can decrease decimal, show fewer decimal places. So I want to see more. And I could say, I think in the homework she has it like this. I got 1.3% of all my applicants are veterans. Okay, now this next one's going to be similar. We're going to do equals count if I'm looking for applicants that identify as LGBTQ+. I'll go to my analysis. I'm going to select K. Now I don't know this for sure, but my assumption is that I'm looking for it to also say the word checked. Okay, so again, because it's a string, you got to put it in quotes. We'll type checked. We'll do a close parentheses, and now it's a percent, so we're going to go divided by. You can come back here, click A3, hit enter. We'll come up to formatting here, like the data type formatting. We'll hit percent. And I don't want it to round. I want to see a little bit more. I've got 5.6% of all applicants identify as LGBTQ+. Okay, now we're going to look at what percentage of applicants do not have laptops. So we're going to go back to our trusty equals, count if, open parentheses. We'll go to select our range, go to our analysis worksheet, and we are going to select column E. We're going to go comma, and this is telling me, so that's the range. Now what's my criteria? I need it to say, I do not own a laptop for my criteria. So we'll go open, like first double quotes. I do not own a laptop. Again, this has to be exact, otherwise it won't look for it. Close quotes, close parentheses, hit enter. And we can see that we have 294 that don't have laptops. Now this asks for a percent. So what percent of all applicants do not have laptops? We're going to divide that by our total number of applicants. Oops. Why is it doing a range? There we go. You can always double check your function. So that you see how it gave me like a funky selection. I was double checking here that it was selecting like is A1 through A3 was going like that. I'm like, that's not what I want. Stop it. Okay. And I hit A3 and hit enter. And you can see if I change this to a percent, add a decimal. I've got 17.5% of applicants do not have a laptop. This is a little bit more of an advanced thing, but I just want to make you aware that if I were to try to copy this value, or sorry, copy this function, I do Control C and say I need to move it. I'm going to paste it over here, Control V. You'll notice it gives me this error. It's running formula or function is divided by 0, empty cells. Well, let's take a look into the function and see what's going on. I have count if, oh, analysis S through S, like that's not what I had. I had E through E. Why did it change? The way that you can fix that from happening in Excel is by putting a $ in front of your column and row, your column letter and row number. So I'm going to put it over S through S, and I'm going to put a $ before O and a $ before, oh, sorry, no, I'm doing this wrong. Okay, forget that. What I want to do, sorry, not on your copied version, but on the original cell. So mine would be A8. I'm putting a $ before E, $ before E, $ before A, and a $ before 3. Do a little bit more research into this, but what this is doing is it's giving an absolute reference, meaning don't try to be smart. Don't give me a relative reference and change it relative to how many like cells I moved. It's hard to explain, but just know that this exists. So if you're trying to copy and paste and you're getting errors like that, try putting $ in front, hit enter, and then I can copy and I can paste that function and it will carry it with me. Okay. So I just wanted to make you aware of that briefly. Okay, next question. What is the most number of children of any applicant? Okay, this is going to be a new function for us. We're going to do always start with equals, because if I start to just write sum, it's putting the text of sum in there. It's not like creating a formula or function for me. Okay, so we always start with equals, and we are going to do the function max. Now, max here, it says returns the largest value in a set of values, ignores logical values and text. So we're going to do max, open parentheses, and we're going to go back to our data. We're going to select column D because that's where our children exist. So I'm telling Excel, find me the largest number in this range, in the range of column D. Okay, close parentheses. We'll hit enter. And 10. And we talked about this before. That means there's a tech mom out there that has 10 children, and that's incredible. Okay, what is the average number of children among all applicants? I have equals average. This is a new function. Open parentheses. I'm going to go to my analysis. I'm going to select my children column. I'm going to close parentheses. I'm going to hit enter. And I have 2.349667 children. Okay, that's a little bit too many decimals. So I'm going to come up to my home ribbon under number, and I'm going to decrease the decimal to, we'll say 2.3. Okay, and this final one is kind of fun. So it says, what's the average number of children of applicants that were assigned a cohort? So if you'll remember, basically this question is saying, give me the average number of children, but based on a certain criteria. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in equals, and this is kind of a fun one. We're going to do average if. Now let's read the definition. It says finds the average or the arithmetic, basically math, mean for the cells specified by a given condition or criteria. Okay, so we're going to open parentheses. We're going to go find my range. And this is like the average. Sorry. Okay, rewind. I need to go first find the range that the criteria will apply to. Okay, and then I'm going to go find the range of children. Just bear with me. So when this says range, I need to find the range under which I'm applying the criteria. So I need to go grab the range of C. because it's in here that I need to grab only those applicants that say assigned a cohort and then calculate their average number of children. Okay, so we're going to do C, go to your formula bar, comma, and then what's the criteria? I need it to say assigned cohort, always in quotes, otherwise it won't work. And then comma. And as I don't know if you guys can tell, but when I hit a comma, it's moving on to the next part of the function that it's looking for, okay? And then it says the average range. So like, what does this mean? I'm going to go find the range that I want it to calculate an average. We'll do it end parentheses, hit enter. And as you can see, I'm getting 2.35. Let's decrease the number of decimals. The average number of children of applicants that were assigned a cohort is 2.4. So again, the average if is basically calculate an average based on some criteria. Okay? Okay, so that goes to our main questions. Now, we do have on here additional questions. So if there's additional things that you want to ask of your data, this would be an opportunity to do so. So let me give an example of one. Say that we're looking for the most number of children of applicants assigned a cohort. So what is the most number of children of applicants that were assigned a cohort? Let me teach you something fun. Oh, look, it tried to be smart. Okay, so it was super smart and it copied my formatting for me. If it didn't do that, oh, it's just going to do it for me. If you type something, anyway, just go up to your, on the home ribbon under this clipboard, you can click Format Painter. So what that does is if you're selected on a cell and you want to copy the format of that cell to a bunch of other cells, you can click Format Painter and it will apply that to the cell that you click just after. Okay, just as a heads up. So anyway, what is the most number of children of applicants that were assigned a cohort? So in this case, I'm looking for the max, but given a certain criteria. So what I'm going to do is equals max ifs. Okay, so find the max, but based on a certain bit of criteria. It says returns the maximum value among cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. Okay, so we're going to do max if, open parentheses, and I am looking for, oops, max ifs, has to have an S, open parentheses. So you notice what I just did there? Actually, this is a good troubleshooting thing. I did max if, and when I did my open parentheses, the little dialogue that shows me what to do next, like what that function is expecting to see, didn't pop up. So that told me, oh, something's off, something's weird. And I can go back and it's, oh, okay. Max ifs, I hit tab and it will populate for me with that beginning parentheses, okay? So it's looking for first the max range. So I'm going to go back to my analysis sheet. I'm going to look for the range, which would be children. I'm going to do a comma. And the criteria is that they were assigned a cohort. So the criteria range first is what it's looking for. So I'm going to click, oh, my little thingy is in the way. I'm going to click, oh, do you guys see how that's in the way? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to select all of applicant status and then the actual criteria that I'm looking for. And I need it to say, in quotes, assigned cohort, end quotes, end parentheses, hit enter. And as you can see, the most number of children of applicants that were actually assigned a cohort was 9. And there you have it. That takes us through these questions, analyzing data, ask questions of the data, and we will get into our next video shortly.